Okay, so good day. So in this lecture, we will be discussing about biosafety and biosecurity. So first, let's do some definition of terms. So exactly what is biosafety? So, biosafety is described as the set of principles and practices that dictate the safe handling and containment of potentially harmful biological agents for the purpose of preventing infection of laboratory workers and the public. So, this is the definition given from our reference book, this Biosecurity, Understanding, Assessing, and Preventing the Threat by Ryan Burnett. So, basically, biosafety is more focused on preventing the release of the harmful biological agents in the environment. Okay, so that is one of the not the sole but one of the focus of biosafety. Now, when we talk about biosafety, we have several related terms, specifically biosecurity. And then we also have the biorisk, biohazard, biocontainment, biosurety, biodefense, bioweapons, and bioterrorism. So let's also discuss these related topics one by one. So, how about biosecurity? So biosafety and biosecurity, there's basically they are quite related, and in this case, let's define biosecurity as in terms of the laboratory biosecurity. So, biosecurity, or rather laboratory biosecurity, is a set of concepts and practices used to secure sensitive biological materials from persons or entities that should not have access. Actually, they are quite related. They're almost synonymous. So, the keyword here is almost. Now, biosafety is concerned about accidental or unintended release, whereas when we talk about biosecurity, this is we are securing harmful biological agents from the intentional release into the general public or into the environment. So, according to WHO, laboratory biosecurity is institutional and personal security measures designed to prevent the loss, theft, misuse, diversion, or intentional release of pathogens and toxins. In biosafety, we are preventing the loss, the release of pathogens and toxins into the environment and even to the laboratory workers as well. But in biosecurity, there is the element of the intention. There is a malignant element there that want to intentionally release the pathogens and toxins, and that's what makes biosecurity different from biosafety. So there is an intention in biosecurity. So, another term is the biorisk. Biorisk is the probability or chance that a particular adverse event, such as the accidental infection or unauthorized access, loss, theft, misuse, diversion, or intentional release, possibly leading to harm, will occur. So, basically, it's a probability that an event, a risky event, will occur. So, basically, that's biorisk. And biorisk assessment is the process to identify acceptable and unacceptable risk and laboratory biosecurity risk. So, biorisk encompasses both biosafety and biosecurity. And in terms of biorisk, it's measuring your measuring the probability that the safety or the security might be jeopardized. So, basically, this is commonly used by laboratory programs to determine the level of risk a biological agent presents to the laboratory worker and strategies to mitigate those risks. So, when we design, when you design laboratories or design programs and protocols, there's always an assessment, a biorisk assessment involved as one of the first steps. Now, how about biohazard? Biohazard is a hazard of biological origin. So they include infectious agents such as, of course, COVID, even bacterial agents, viral or bacterial infectious agents, non-infectious toxins such as, say, alpha-bungarotoxin, conotoxins, etc. Tissues and cultures, so including cancer cell cultures, vectors of diseases, parasites, and even therapeutics. Because remember, why is therapeutics also considered a biohazard? Remember the saying that medicine can be a poison and a poison can be medicine. It's just that the dose matters. So a medicine can be poison and a poison can also be used. Actually, most poisons are used as medicine. We are just fiddling with the doses. So anyway, that's a biohazard. So anything that is hazardous or can bring harm. And it, of course, it's biohazard, so it has a biological origin. And then another term, biocontainment. So biocontainment is probably the one that is close definition to biosafety. The difference is that when we talk about biocontainment, we are usually thinking of barriers. So they refer to physical and procedural components of properly and safely keeping biological systems and agents within the confines of some barrier system. We want to contain the threat. We want to contain the hazard. So biocontainment is basically erecting barriers between the hazard and the environment. And then Biosecurity describes laboratory operations from the perspective of the operating environment and includes biosafety, physical security, personal responsibility, and agent accountability. So biosecurity often includes the accountability, such as inventory control of the microorganisms, particularly select agents and toxins. So this is more of operational, it has more of an operational connotation to its definition. And then biodefense or biological defense. It refers to an entity's policies and procedures to defend against an attack involving biological agents and weapons. It also refers to the local community's emergency response effort in the event of an attack or an intentional release. In fact, with today's pandemic, we can say that the biodefense of not only the Philippines but even the whole world is very much lacking because if we have perhaps how can I say, but if you have a properly thought out, or we have a very good working biodefense system, perhaps this pandemic wouldn't have such a widespread consequences such as what we are experiencing right now. But that's just my conjecture. Okay, so actually this is the first time, or no, this is not the first time that a pandemic has occurred, but the last one was 100 years ago. So we still don't know much yet about diseases at that time. But now this is the first time that we are actually experiencing a pandemic in what we say a modern medical setting. So of course this is quite new to us also, and I hope this will become a good learning platform for all of us. Okay, so bioweapon is loosely defined as a weapon that incorporates biological origin, but this actual definition is a bit lacking. In particular, a bioweapon describes agents of biological origin that can be weaponized. Of course, it becomes a weapon if there's a harmful intent. Actually, this is a definition provided ever since the 9/11 attack way back in 2001. Especially the anthrax attacks. Now, bioterrorism, the threat or use of biological agents as weapons to cause fear, terror, economic and political disruption, and unrest among the populace to achieve political, ideological, social, and or religious goals, which is the hallmark of biological terrorism or bioterrorism. So, an example here are the anthrax incidents after the 9/11. That's way back 2001. They send envelopes with white powder. Basically, it contains anthrax, Bacillus anthracis, to targeted people and even random people to incite fear. So basically, bioterrorism is the main goal is inciting fear. That's why it's called terrorism. You incite fear in the general population. You disrupt the general population, and it becomes a bioterrorism if you are using a bioweapon or you weaponize a biological entity. Okay, so that's it for this definition. So in the next part of this video, or rather, in the next part of this lecture, that's in the next video, we will discuss about how to basically about biorisk management, specifically the AMP model.